Hey folks, I'm Kelsey Voit, CFA's organizing director,
And I'm Nick Cartwright, CFA's policy associate.
and we're going to share with y'all some highlights of how Community Farm Alliance has fought for the small family farmer and local food systems through federal, state, and local policy efforts this year.
We wanted to start by sharing some of the ways we've engaged CFA members in our policy work this year by the numbers. To start, we signed on to 24 national and state letters this year, dealing with a variety of policy issues related to farm and agriculture. We had 25 CFA members sign on to the National Farmer Letter on climate change. And then we had 16 CFA members weigh in on our Prime Act survey. We were able to share 22 action alerts, publish 3 op-eds. We registered 346 potential new voters. We were able to follow 18 state bills at the Kentucky legislature, and we met with 19 state legislators as well. And to celebrate a big win, CFA members commented on commercial kitchen fee changes, which led to a new proposal that more favors small producers.
Yeah, so there's a lot to celebrate this year. And looking back on the 2020 state legislative session, the focus of the session did shift towards the end with the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic. But even still, CFA did have several wins during the session. So we worked with several broad coalitions to successfully stop both House Bill 1 and Senate Bill 1. And in doing so, protected the integrity of necessary safety net programs like Medicaid and SNAP, and protected the fabric of our farming communities and immigrant neighbors. We also reacquainted legislators with CFA's history and mission by getting a resolution honoring CFA's 35th anniversary introduced and adopted in the Senate. And we also built base support for direct farm impact healthy food access initiatives by getting a resolution introduced and passed in both the House and Senate that recognized the importance of healthy food access for Kentuckians' health and the local ag economy. And a couple other bills that we were following also passed. So House Bill 308 tweaks the beginning farmer tax credit, and House Concurrent Resolution 5 is asking federal agencies to expedite research on medical marijuana. And pictured here is a bunch of CFA members and legislators and our ag commissioner at our lobby day back in February.
Yeah, and to build off of all those awesome legislative session wins, we wanted to talk a little bit about the Kentucky Food Policy Network. So, for the last 2 years, CFA, along with 3 other core partner organizations, Feeding Kentucky, KY Policy, and Kentucky Equal Justice Center, have been discussing the relaunch of the Kentucky Food Policy Network. And we really just wanted to create a space where Kentuckians could come together across various sectors, collaborate on food policy efforts, and share information and resources about the food system with each other. With some added capacity this year, the core partners were able to take some concrete steps towards that goal. And we started with doing some outreach to over 60 nonprofit organizations, issue advocates, farmers, community groups, SNAP recipients, and other folks that are connected to the food system. We took the feedback from those outreach conversations and developed an initial structure for the network. And then we planned a statewide virtual launch of the new KFPN, which happened earlier this month on November 9th. That virtual meeting had almost 70 total participants and featured a discussion based around broad policy issues and current regional food system work. And right now, the Kentucky Food Policy Network is continuing to engage people interested in food policy further through follow-up conversations in our policy work groups and regional cohorts. And additionally, people can serve on the KFPN Planning Committee to help shape the future of the network and what that looks like, and also help plan our biannual meetings.
Yeah, so there's lots of exciting connections going on. And as we continue to look ahead, we know that the policy landscape has shifted since we just had an election. And what that means for ag is still shaking out on a national level. But we do know that on a state level, we still have a Democratic governor, and our House and Senate are still a large Republican majority. As for what the legislative session is going to look like, that's still being figured out because the pandemic is still affecting things. So we don't really know what access to lobbying and meeting with our legislators is going to be and what the legislative priorities are going to be. But as far as our priorities on a state level, we do want to introduce a healthy farm and food incentive fund to support the Kentucky Double Dollars program. And we're going to continue working with our coalitions on issues including healthy soils, solar energy, and safety net programs. And on a national level, we're going to continue advocating for COVID-19 aid and continue working on bills that support small meat processors and livestock and poultry farmers. And we will weigh on even more farm and food policy issues as they come up.
Yeah, and you'll have ways to weigh in as well. As we continue to look ahead, we want to share with you multiple ways to stay engaged and participate in CFA's policy work. Within CFA, we have 3 working groups that members can join to work on policy issues. Those 3 groups are the Climate Change Working Group, the Cottage Food Working Group, and the Local Meat Processing Working Group. And then within the Kentucky Food Policy Network, there are 4 policy work groups that you can plug into, which are based around food and nutrition, child feeding, climate change, and agriculture and food systems.
Yeah, and if you want to get involved in any of those work groups, you can contact me or Nick. Our emails are on this slide here. And just to stay abreast of our policy efforts, you can sign up for our newsletter and become a CFA member on our website. So really looking forward to staying engaged with y'all in the new year and building power with you to support Kentucky agriculture. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.